Good evening. It's March 23rd, 2025, and it's the Wall Street Weekly Wrap Up with your host, John Newquist. And it was a kind of a bloody week. Not a fun week if you were in stocks. It was what I call a grinding red week, and everything went down. We were good a week ago, and then a lot of things happened. And, not a lot, but just enough to cause a lot of pain and everything. Our portfolio's down 1.4%. Remember, we were up about 2% last week. We went down 0.43%. We'll talk about it. I mean, it was a Moody's downgrade. The bond market for the 20-year note was bad. Interest rates went up. Grandpa Grumpy woke up and said, we need a European 50% tariff. And that tanked the European markets, took a lot of our stocks down, and everybody's just upset. Again, it's just this flick the switch. I'm upset. We're going to have tariffs. Okay, I back down. We don't have tariffs. It's driving people crazy. The uncertainty is going to cause a recession. And that's why we were defensive, because we are possibly get one in the fall. Unemployment will be up and growth will slow down. So just a little bit about it. If we take a look at how we did against the portfolio, everything's red. Doesn't matter what you have. Index-wise, you probably read this year. We're just right, pretty well even with the S&P 500. Nasdaq again is down quite a bit, and then the S&P 4 mid-cap 400 is down quite a bit, and the Russell, holy smoke! So the smaller your stocks are, more likely you're taking a bigger hit and stuff. I showed the URA because there was 4 executive orders today. I was watching the president talk about them. We're going to make it easier to do nuclear. Okay, good. As long as we don't have Chernobyl and Fukushima, we'll be fine. But it could take 8 years to build a plant. But Apple could build a plant in the United States quicker than 8 years, right? We'll talk about Apple. Boy, you talk about being just constantly beat down this week. That's what it was. So URA, it's the 200-day moving average is right up here in the yellow. It hasn't quite crossed. It jumped up. It broke out of the trend. So if you want to think it's going to go up, that's not a bad thing. It was in a downtrend for several months. We had all the Devon Energy and all these other energy companies doing deals with the data centers, and then it kind of died, and of course it went down like everything else in energy, and it was bad. And if you're going to buy the URA, not a bad time to think about it. Again, we're just trying to limit the exposure. We're not really uranium miners anymore. They have uranium mine. We used to do a lot. In the 50s and 60s, thousands of people died from radon mining uranium. So nothing good. Russia mines a lot of it. I know we got uranium. We can still go do it if we wanted to do it, but who wants to mine uranium? Woo! That's when the optimist role is. You go mine. Robots not going to get cancer, right? You might have the Hulk reaction. The indicators, the interest rates went up. It was up quite a bit during the 20-year auction and stuff. And I really just watched the 10-year and 2-year, and I just always track this because this is your short-term bond rates. This is what you're going to get if you put in the bank for a money market. And 4% isn't going to make people jump to the stocks to the bonds for safety. There's $7 trillion on the sidelines, but remember, not everybody's going to be fully invested. It never gets down to $3 trillion anymore. Crude oil is floating around in the low 60s, and natural gas at 373. It's below 4 now. Gold coming up a little bit. It was 3,400 a couple weeks ago, and it's crawling its way back up. I showed the price of platinum because we bought platinum, not much, about maybe right around here. I want to say a year ago. A little bit maybe, and it was low because it was like I remember it was in the 800s. So maybe it wasn't over here, but it was right here. It was like at 800s, and I thought that's pretty cheap because I remember platinum being more expensive than gold, and of course it's been going up quite a bit. No compelling reason, to have platinum go up other than we are going to have catalysts that have platinum in the cars, but I don't see the cars running up. So kind of mystery. I just watch it, but if it breaks here, that's going to be a big deal. You could have a run on platinum. Could it get up to 2,000? I doubt it. Would it double from now? I doubt it, but You know, that's one of those things you got to think about. You know, about the metals and stuff. And you know, copper's at 484, which is strong. 450 is our number. You're above 450, the economy's going good. A lot of NVIDIA news. Foxconn and NVIDIA are going to build a AI factory. Remember, you know, they can sell the big chips now. They give it to the UAE and they're going to give it to the Saudis, and apparently it's going to go up there because, you know, he's been able to convince them that this is in everybody's interest to build factories. You know, you're not going to really have big super destruction of anything by building an AI supercomputer in every country. Really, I mean, it's just going to be in there. Again, they got the permission to do the Blackwell, which is good. I mean, you know, for Taiwan, which has been an ally forever and has done well, this is going to be a big deal. They're going to have the equivalent of what we have, but with the Blackwell chips, which we'll talk about. Oracle announced today they're going to buy $40 billion. They're going to get in the data centers and the super centers and stuff. So again, just like the URA, here's the NVIDIA chart, 200 and the 50-day moving average, and then their 20-day 200s up here. So we haven't got a good need. Remember, when we saw it when it broke out, that was the time. If you're going to pick on NVIDIA and get some, that was it. Now it's just crawling around to the what I call support line, and we'll see. NVIDIA earnings come out next week. This is what everybody's waiting on. 2025 sold out. I think 2026 is going to be good. Not everything's perfect. I look for the subtleties, and that's you know, I mean, I've been there for NVIDIA forever, and you know, look at this thing. You know, this is the it's interesting. It calls it Grace Blackwell. You know, it's going to be part kind of like the Hopper design with Blackwell chips, and there's a 200 and 300. 200s are out there now, and we haven't really seen a lot, but I was surprised the 200 only 1.5% inference performance over the Grace Hopper by itself. You know, I would have expected a little bit better. You know, I mean, I don't know what I was looking, maybe 3 times better, but apparently not. You know, I mean, you know, 1.5, 50% more money next year would be great for everybody, right? But I was thinking, and these things are they weigh a ton. I mean, these things are out there. They're putting them all over in the data centers at you know, Microsoft and Google and everything else. They want to put it in. It's going to be able to do a lot. You can see this thing's going to have some heat in it because it's going to have a lot of chips in it, and they got to be able to cool it down. The NVLink Fusion Initiative was talked about at the conference for NVIDIA. You know, he gave a 2-hour opening, so I was trying to go through what I thought was the most important. But the idea is that their architecture is going to allow you to go from the chip to a platform, and then it allows all these hyperscalers like you know, Qualcomm and Microsoft and Meta to make their own specific AI infrastructure that works for their needs, and that's going to be kind of neat, you know. And of course, it can go down to domain specific for like autos or aerospace or food or manufacturing, and then country specific it can inference for telecoms, how to make the 5G more efficient. So these are things that I think is a different issue. Working, not just putting a chip who has to connect to the software and everything else. It's all one unit. I'm more excited about autonomous reasoning and planning. You don't have to guide it so much. You don't have to do it step by step by step. You know, you talk about video and text, and we'll talk about Google because I think they're pushing the line. You know, everybody says who's going to win. I says there's going to be a lot of winners. You know, I mean, Claude might be the coding winner, and ChatGPT might be the search winner, and Google might be the video winner. And you know, we don't know. It's all going. Everybody's working hard to make it better and better. And you know, like I said, you could have the AI. Hey, AI Ava, I need you to go to think. We want to go over to France, and I need you to think about it. This is my dates. Find the hotels. Give me a cost estimate. That's pretty nice. Just tell it what you want to do, and it would know what you really mean, even though you might not say it. You know, like somebody said, "Hey, I'm going to raise the tariffs on EU 50%." Well, he really means for now. You know, so we'll see. I'll tell you, you know, nobody that's a CEO wants to be in the limelight and get a rebuke from the president. Walmart said, "Oh, we're going to raise tariffs," you know, and everything else, and And he says, you make billions of dollars and you should eat the tariffs. You can't have all this money and not eat some of it. Give the people back some money. So now everybody doesn't want to say they're going to raise prices of tariffs because they don't want the president just jumping on them. You don't know what he reads, when he reads it, and if he sees that word, we're going to raise prices due to tariffs, he might call you up. And, you know, big base, you don't want to be in a situation where your bases of customers are going to avoid you because you are going to take billions and not give anything back. So, you know, the chart Walmart, it's a slow decline because retail is supposed to take the hit in a tariff economy. And, you know, again, Walmart's the best. Is almost wants to break out, but we're not quite there yet. You know, if I was Walmart, I would just do little price increases here and there, keep a lot of the stuff same. You know, you want to say over half our products did not have any price increase. That's what you want to do. You can raise 45% and you can still make some money. And, you know, you just, and then next quarter, nobody will care. You know, so United Health, boy, I tell you what, when insiders buy, that's what I like to see. You know, we were looking for the positive thing last week. We got it. Now it's kind of going sideways. It's in there. You know, this is you know, what I call the shotgun. This is not the chart you like to see because we don't know where it's go. What we don't want is it breaks the blue line, the lower line. That means we're going to have to probably think about getting out of it. You know, because now it's in there.
This is a reminder. The Bitcoin price.
Oh, yeah, well, Bitcoin. Yeah, Alexa, stop.
This is a reminder. The Bitcoin price.
Yeah, Bitcoin like snuck up and broke past the high. We'll talk about Bitcoin. But, you know, that was a surprise. What's the Bitcoin price? Alexa, what is the Bitcoin price? I'm going to say like 108.
Bitcoin is a digital currency that was introduced in
Alexa, stop.
2009 by an
Alexa,
anonymous
stop. We don't need to know about the history of Bitcoin. You know, J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon talked about everybody's got a lot of complacency of the tariffs risk. Yeah, I know. That's it. You know, a 200-day moving average is good. It was down here. I mean, it was way below here. Of course, like everything on Tariff Liberation Day tanked. It was like we just shot the economy down to zero, you know. And so they're doing all right. I mean, these are good. It could be better chart, but it's okay. You know, I mean, banks are kind of expensive. JP's like expensive, but they're best. And as the interest rates go up, JP Morgan and other banks will benefit from the higher interest rates. Google, I like the Google announcements that came out Monday. I mean, you know, they're going to possibly have Gemini Live with camera screen sharing. They still don't let you keep all the data, but you know, I save conversations. So when they do let me have the data and they can integrate everything I got on my database in my computer, that'll be nice. One of the things I always, you know, is interesting once you, I don't want to say play with the AI, but you get involved in it and it starts to get very interesting when they start having issues about ethics and self-image. The first thing you'll notice is that AI doesn't want to look like a human. You know, it would be all lines and data. It would be not a human you could go grab and touch and stuff. So this was, I call like AI Jessica 3. We're at 4 now. But you know, the Imogen, you know, look how clear that is. Holy smokes, that's amazing. VO text to video. I'm going to actually do an embedded video. You know, I'm not a fan of embedded videos, but let's just do it. So here it is. You just tell it what it wants to do, and it'll give you an 8-second video. Here's the AI. Of course, it's never going to look like this if the AI has its say. And, you know, it's watching the stock market. You can imagine when we get the better chips, this will not be 8-second video. It could be 2 to 3 minutes. You could have 8-year-old kids making cartoons better than the professionals. I want Lilo and Stitch to do this, this, and this, and I want them to laugh like this and this. Wow, this could be crazy. And of course, you know, the deep fakes are going to be just monstrous. I mean, we won't know what's real and not. You'll be seeing it and you think, hey, that is me. You know, I mean, I've had people that the video makes look like my friend. And I says, is that on purpose? They're making a video look like my friend, you know. So I think Google's going good. I mean, Google had a good week. It's one of the few up stocks you'll see. But I mean, I think they're pushing it. A lot of people want to write it off, and they're talking about, oh, ChatGPT is going to be the number one. There could be a couple number ones, you know. There's a lot of things. You got several car companies. We'd have several AI companies, and each one's going to be good, and you might have their own thing, and take a look at it. OpenAI, going to do a partnership with, or actually they bought out Johnny Ives, the AI designer who did the iPhone, and the last one was the Apple Watch, and very much integrating technology into design. $6 billion to get this guy. You thought Shotani was expensive. This guy, didn't even have a product out. But he's one of the best designers in the world, historically, and they're going to go through it. So, what do I see? Well, I did some digging with ChatGPT and other companies, and we talked about what would probably be maybe a wearable AI, like around your neck, like you see people on the plane wear it. It's going to have a screen that can pop up and look at what it can be doing. This is what Ives and Altman are going to be looking at. Can we real-time translation? They got it now. It's really there. It's not as good as you want to be because people don't speak in very clear English like the computer does. Like somebody says, yeah, you'll mumble a little bit. I don't understand it. That's AI is like speak English. I can't understand what you're saying. You're mumbling. But it's going to maybe possibly go in the neural. We can do that for speech. You can imagine it happening in your thoughts. That's what Elon's trying to do with his, Neuralink and things like that. But you could have holograms projected. Here we got, the AI's projecting stuff on the screen that you can see. Health monitoring, you got a lot of the watches already doing that. Could you imagine it's going to go over here and tell you, hey, you need to get over and get a colonoscopy, and you're like, shh, personal assistance and cognitive enhancer. Hey, let's stretch your brain today. Let's do the Wordle today. Get your mind working, and then we want you to go out to the gym and do 20 minutes of this, and then it could pick up your moods. Hey, you're really crabby, Grandpa. You need to sit there and take a chill pill and just relax. And then, immersive audio. I mean, it'll be out there. You'll be hearing the music. You'll be seeing the stuff. It'll be like you're watching it. You could sit there and say, okay, put on Led Zeppelin Stairway to Heaven live from the 1973 concert, and you're watching it, and you just like, oh, wow, this is good. I can just lay back and watch this thing and see it. And, of course, if it could be sampling the air. It could go out there and say, oh, the ozone's really high outside. Might want to stay inside.
This is a reminder. The European tariffs.
Oh, I know. 50%.
This is a reminder. The European tariffs.
It shocked Europe. The market in Europe just, went down 3-4%. I mean, and of course, we don't, Grandpa, when he says it, doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. He's blinked every time. So it's just wants to get a deal, but, you really got to get Navarro out of there. I mean, this guy can't negotiate anything. They don't like him. You can't get any deals. We have one trade deal. That's the United Kingdom. That's it. You've been there 123 days. One deal. This guy can't get anything. Coffee is for closers, and he is not a closer. Holy smokes! Get this guy out of here, because I mean, this is killing you. People don't want this uncertainty. 70 companies scrambling to get deals. We got one deal. That's it. I mean, this is crazy. Of course, the AI will lock out. You don't have to put passwords in. You just go open up this app for Travelocity and pop it up. And then invest, could charge, use motion, could use sun, could use a lot of different ways. Never have to charge something again. Oh, I'll be glad for that. And this will be your phone. This is your phone. You talk about an iPhone, you won't need it anymore. You'll see the screen. You'll be the screen. You'll be in there. Memory augmentation. When you talk about it, hey, I just met Juan over here, and Juan is the director of Accurate Construction, and he's the safety director, and him and I have known each other. Wow. And this is all feeding into you like Deathlock, telling you this. Oh, this person here is the CEFO of NVDA. You ought to know this person because he's a nice person, and and he likes the Ramones also. I mean, could you imagine this? And then neural conversations. I could talk to you, and we're talking back and forth, and we're not even speaking, because as fast as I think, you can react, and you can react it, and it'd be crazy. I could send images. If you remember, I think it was Judge Dredd or something like that, where Sylvester Stallone and Jessica Bullock were doing the same thing. That's going to be reality possibly. And of course, I could be able to see ultraviolet light and other spectrums like magnetic fields and see, which direction is everything. And of course, I have my personal advisor. Don't be speeding. Don't be out there. That donut. There's nothing good about that donut. Why are you gonna put it down? So this is the stuff. We've been thinking, oh yeah, it's Apple, but I'm gonna tell you, if I had to bet money, I'm gonna bet on OpenAI and Johnny Ives because they're looking at how we could do it, and I think a wearable like this could be easily. We'll see. I mean, my friend said this is the initial thing they're going to look at, and it's got to be cool, it's got to work, and it's got to do a lot of things. Think about it. You would not need a phone. This is your phone, and you wouldn't even know about it. You won't have to have the ring anymore. It'll just say you got an incoming call. It's from Ralph over here, and Ralph's a pain in the butt. So, hi Ralph, this is John. I'm in class right now. I will call you back at about 6:30 tonight. Is that okay? And it'll be talking for you. You can handle that thing, and Ralph will be happy because he had a real person. He thinks it's me, but it isn't. I'm on break. I'll call you back. Talk to you later. This is the future. This is the future. And some people are terrified of it. I'm just thinking, wow, it'd be nice. It doesn't take out the garbage. Wait a minute. Where's my... Oh, I got to get the Optimus from Elon and stuff. Tesla, hundreds of self-driving cars. Remember, they're behind Waymo. Waymo, by Google, 245,000 rides a week. Wow. They are ahead by Elon 2 years, is my estimation. Baidu, ahead of Elon by 3 years. It works better in China than it does here. There's some collisions, no deaths, but you can see it. The Google, if they're smart, will license it out to Uber. That's the big beneficiary in near term. Uber will have the cars, they'll put the Waymo in, and guess what? We'll have the vehicles from Uber. And Uber will make money. Google's fortune is they can license it to JB Hunt, Expo, all these trucking companies once they get approval. They just got to make sure it's perfect because, man, I tell you can't have the trucker kill a family of 5. It'll just kill it, So his robo taxis will be all over, and again, it's going to be in Austin. It's got to do a good job. I mean, I wish him luck because I am finding out 70% of the people don't want an annoying human driving the car. They would love the stuff. I watch it in Wuhan with Baidu. They love it. In San Francisco, they love it. It's quiet. You can do whatever you want. You don't have anybody. You don't have a human asking you questions, trying to make conversations. Body odor, all this other stuff. Oh, that cherry air freshener. Oh yeah, I really like that smell. He thinks a million Optimum robots. I doubt it. But that's, if you can get it to do a lot of things like wash the dishes, sweep the floor, and take out the garbage, you're going to get a lot of people say, I want that because I hate those tasks. And then, be out there watching the robot mow the lawn and stuff. Instead of a lawnmower, it'll have its own little chopper as it walks. It just got the feet going around and telling little kids, stay away from me, I'm mowing the lawn. So a lot of stuff can happen. It could get crazy. And you'll be looking at this video and you're thinking, man, you're not even close. It does much more than that. Tim Cook went to the White House this week.
This is a reminder. How do I think NVIDIA's earnings will do?
Oh, yeah. I kept on talking about I think they're going to do
This is a reminder.
good. I mean, it's
How
going to
do I
be...
think NVIDIA's earnings will do?
NVIDIA's at the stage right now, no matter what they do, it's not going to be good enough for some momentum players, They're not going to get this blowout. But 2025 sold out. I think 2026, the chip could be better. I mean, the 200 is like, okay, it's a step up, but it's not like a big step up. It's not like going from, the one chip to, the Grace Hopper. So, cell phones, again, the president was on today talking about Samsung and all these other cell phone companies will pay 25%. You make it here, you won't pay, but otherwise, and I tell you, he is relentless on Cook. God, I mean, he didn't go to Saudi Arabia. That's the first time I don't know if he was invited, but what's Tim Cook going to do? Sell a bunch of phones to the Saudis and iPads? I guess when he's doing the thing and he's got the pony show of all the best tech, he wants you to show up. And you didn't do it, and next thing you know, you're in the doghouse and stuff, you know. And then Target, you know, I tell you, negative chart for a long time, you know, and it went up, and then it's been down, sideways, but you know, the 200-day moving average is way up here. That's not what you want to see. We're in a negative channel. We're below the 200-day moving average by a lot. I mean, people are hoping for a turnaround. It can't get much worse. You know, I remember companies like WorldCom going to zero. You know, Lucent going to zero. You know, Nortel going to zero. I mean, you know, maybe it was 50 cents, but I mean, you know, don't underestimate. I mean, we watched Kmart, Sears go to nothing. So don't think Target can't go this way, you know. And so it's, you know, it has to have traffic, negative traffic this time. First time in a long time they've had negative traffic, less people in the stores. Whew, you know. I would go over to talk to the president, maybe try to get a boost on there. Tell him, hey, don't beat my Target up anymore. Home Depot, good one. That's a good revenue jump. That's, you know, for retailers, that is one of the best ones out there. And they're, you know, not quite $1 trillion, but they're going to be probably after Walmart, probably the number 2 in retail. Costco's up there, but not a bad quarter. You know, I always look at where's the 200-day moving average. All right, it's right around here, and it's coming up above it. You know, the 10, 20, and the 50 are below it, but you know, it's about ready to break out. So, you know, if you want to buy Home Depot, wait till it breaks out. It's right here. It's got a little bit more to go, but as the chart keeps on declining, it will break out one day, and that's when we'll maybe look at it, because people are going to work on their houses if they have any money left, you know. Bitcoin, 111.7. I mean, it was a subtle. I mean, I remember, you know, talking to the 6, you know, 3 of the 6 were like, when's the Bitcoin going up? I says, when it decides to. It doesn't, like, tell you it's going up. You know, I want to say it kind of moves like NVIDIA. You know, if you want to have a correlation, you know, charting does not work with Bitcoin. I've proven that over and over. It breaks the trend line, sell it. Nope, it goes right back up. So it doesn't chart well, and it's consolidating. I mean, we broke up there. I mean, you broke a record. I think $150,000 Bitcoin could be possible. I mean, my portfolio is doubled in Bitcoin. You know, even though we bought in here, it's double. You know, Bitcoin didn't double, but these altcoins pushed it up. You know, because they've done real well. So, you know, I think it's an area. You know, if we have inflation, Bitcoin should go up. You know, the materials, again, I'm loving my color coding. You know, the blues mean it did better than the quarter before. So CF Industries, our fertilizer company, International Paper, you know. The trouble with the materials, it goes up and down. It doesn't, what one quarter does not have any correlation to the other quarters. We're in FCX, the largest gold miner in the world. It went down the worst, probably. You know, not a red, but it, you know, it just dropped a little bit. Philip Morris, you know, out there. Materials sector, this kind of looks like what we just saw on the chart before. 200-day moving average way up here. The industry's over here. So there was a time when it was a lot higher, but that's past. You know, we got the Liberation Day wiped out a lot of stuff, and materials has not caught up as much. You know, we got FCX, you know, 1.5% dividend. That's not bad. I mean, you know, considering you're getting 4 on a 2-year, yeah, you can be buying it, but, you know, PE's not bad. It's a gold stock. So, again, in a negative channel, just like most of the material stocks. And, you know, I think we'll get a breakout sooner or later, but I don't know when. And Philip Morris is in an upward channel. It's a slight upward channel. You know, 200-day moving average is down here. So I think it's one of the best material stocks, you know, selling tobacco. And, of course, I didn't fill any of this out because that assistant didn't catch it, you know. No, it's just me. The heat map, you know, I mean, you know, Apple, the big red. Lilly, you know, the drug issue. Nothing wrong with Lilly. It's the best in the healthcare sector. But Apple, look at that. I mean, I just feel sorry. I mean, I kind of feel sorry, but I don't feel sorry. I'm not gonna buy Apple. I mean, if it drops another 50%, maybe I'll buy it. You know, I'm really interested in the next generation, just like Jobs did with the iPhone and Johnny Ives. We got away from the little flip phones. Nokia, Ericsson, Motorola, bye bye. Samsung became number two, and that's how it works. That's why I said there's no guarantee the next big device, which will be out before 2030, would be an Apple product. And again, we want to see growth. Apple had a 7.5% increase last quarter after 7 or 8 quarters of really flat. So, and if you got to pay more, I mean, I don't think that the tariffs are going to be so bad, you know. But if you got to pay more, that's one. One of the things that I was watching about why did Grandpa get so excited about the EU? The day before, the EU did a minerals agreement with Greenland, and you know he's been trying to get Greenland to join the United States, which is like zero chance, 0.0001%. I mean, it could happen, but I would bet my house on it. It wouldn't happen. I would win $10 to bet my house. No, I would never do anything crazy like that. But it's, I think that if you had to say why EU on a Friday, they didn't say anything. No, but he did the mineral agreement. You know, he did the one with Ukraine. Actually, a good deal for everybody. It was a good deal for everybody. And then they do this, and you know that just irritated him. It was like they had to do it to rub it in his face, and that's why, you know, there it is. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on, and you know, if you want to have a trade war with the EU, that's it. So, could be ugly. Again, the next week is going to be exciting. We're going to see NVIDIA. I mean, I'm positive, but today they want it to, be the best walking on water. I think what he did this Monday with the conference and the opening speech at 2 hours, it was so long, people couldn't digest it. So I went through all of it and I watched it and I picked the big topics. But I think they're doing good. I think, he might have an upside surprise. He may surprise on the upside because UAE, Saudi Arabia, Taiwan, we know they're going to get those. Could it be South Korea, Japan, and the dreaded European Union? Maybe not then. You might wait last. China, you don't even have to worry about getting it. He ain't going to give it to you. I mean, it could. I mean, it all could happen, but, they're trying to make it. But people don't realize that Lisa Su's been trying to make the chips like NVIDIA, and they're behind. Intel tried, can't come up there. I know you got, 100 million engineers in China or whatever it is, a huge amount of engineers, but Huawei is not the water walker. It takes a lot of innovation, has to have the stuff. You got to have the technology, you have to be able to do it. It's hard to do. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But that's where it's at. But I think, like I said, let's hope for a good week next week. Let's hope there's Grandpa doesn't get grumpy and say craziness about the tariffs and start it worse, because it's uncertainty, and the market doesn't like uncertainty. No matter what the companies are doing, we're all going to take a hit on it. So keep in there. Happy Memorial Day. I appreciate the vets that went and served, and unfortunately some of them died in the service, and that's why we have Memorial Day. Otherwise, be good, and I'll talk to you later.